Whenever you're ready, just begin. Introduce yourself, game, and then finish with sort of restate and stuff like that.
Okay, we're good to go. Maybe we'll wait just a little bit more for the loading.
Whenever you're ready.
Cool. Well, welcome to Take on Helicopters, brand new helicopter game from Bohemia Interactive. My name's Jay Crow. I'm creative director on the project, and over the next 5 or so minutes, I hope to show you a little bit about the game, let you know where we are now, where we want to be for our release in October this year. So we're playing on our GamesCom build. It's a little bit more advanced than what we demonstrated at E3. This is the dev version, and hopefully we'll see a bit of downtown Seattle, a few of the helicopter features that we've got. As a small note, we're running on NVIDIA GTX 470. We'll see what that does to downtown Seattle and our helicopters along the way. So, what is Take on Helicopters? Well, it's primarily a civil helicopter game. What does that mean for the player? Well, stepping inside the helicopter, we can see a lot of different things. As developers, what we're trying to do is deliver the experience of flying a helicopter in North American city. How do we do that? Well, in a few ways. First of all, we'll have a look at Seattle itself, talk about the environment, why we chose it. We're flying over Puget Sound at the moment. This is the body of water we see below us. Seattle's a great city to fly helicopters in. The commercial district downtown, the waterfront, some industrial areas, and some residential as well. As we get a little closer to the city, you can see the different scope as compared to previous games that you might be familiar with, like Arma 2 or Operation Arrowhead. It's 60 by 60 kilometers, which is a much bigger area than we've tried to develop before. What that means is it needs to be optimized for flying helicopters. There's a little bit less fidelity when we get to the ground, but what we do have is a massive sense of scale, scope, and when we're flying in a helicopter, we think it looks really impressive. Talking then about the helicopters themselves, what can we offer? Well, without crashing into a building, I should be able to show you interacting with our cockpit. That means we can add a sense of immersion, a sense of richness that we couldn't deliver in our previous titles. We can see that since E3 we've added inverse kinematics. That means whatever input device I've got, we can see it react in the game worlds. Something that we were familiar with from E3 was our render-to-texture mirror. This kind of technology again enhances the richness of sitting in the cockpit, not needing to change up a display. How it affects gameplay? Well, we might imagine something like a small monitor in the cabin. Maybe we've got some infrared, something like that. Again, we don't have to switch a display, we just look around and we get the information that we want. Taking a look at the outside of the helicopter, we can see some really nice detailing. This is one of our light helicopters. So we deal with them in terms of class, light, medium and heavy. Again, what does that mean for the player? Well, a different flight model for each one. A light helicopter, we can imagine being a bit more agile. Maybe we'll fly low through some valleys, above a certain speed, below a certain height. To show you some other aspects of the gameplay, it might be useful to drop down onto the ground. Before I do that, we'll just take a quick look at the clouds. Again, it's a technology that we'll see in Arma 3, but I think for a helicopter game particularly, it really makes a nice feeling of immersion, being in the clouds, being able to go above them, having your view occluded by them. So, let's drop down to the ground. And while we wait, maybe we can talk about what kind of gameplay we offer. So, we've seen some aspects of simulation, sitting in the helicopter, and talked about what that meant for the player. How that figures into a game works with getting outside the helicopter, interacting with it, and taking part in our career mode. This is something like 15 or 20 missions where a simple gameplay premise, a simple narrative is wrapped around helicopter gameplay. Here we'll see the outside of the helicopter from the ground point of view. Now, if you're familiar with our old titles, maybe sitting outside a helicopter isn't such an impressive thing, but compared to other kinds of simulations, a car racing game, an aviation simulator, being able to get out of the vehicle is pretty impressive. Let's interact with our vehicle. And how does this interact with our gameplay? Well, this is a pre-flight check inspection. At E3, I promised the guys that we'd find a bird's nest in our tailpipe, and there it is. What that means is we're going to have to remove that, otherwise when we start flying, we'll simulate some damage, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to keep your helicopter in the air. I was talking about classes of helicopter before, light, medium and heavy. This is one of our medium ones. If we walk over to it, we can open it up and have a look inside. It's got a luxury interior, so kind of gameplay you can think about is transporting a CEO, something like that. Over here, more of a basic helicopter. Maybe we'll do search and rescue, use our searchlight, try and find survivors in trouble. If we want to look at a little bit more at our gameplay, let's look at some SWAT guys. This figures into things like rope simulation, where maybe some guys are going to go from my helicopter faster up onto the roof of a building. In the background there, you can see a cargo ship. Maybe we'll use one of our heavy helicopters, which has got a bit more power, link it up with a sling rope, and take the cargo container wherever it needs to go. Some ambient objects here help fill up the game world, help make people feel that they're part of a real living North American city. And here, again, another medium helicopter, this time fitted out with medical equipment. Let's finish off by heading over to one of our ships. And here we'll be able to see another of our light helicopters, but understand a little more about our variant system. Here we can see a military variant. It's got guns. These are going to work. We're going to use these as part of the campaign as an optional thread for more advanced users. Finally, we can look at Seattle once more, take a look at our clouds at different times of day. This is a Bohemia game, so as you would expect, you can add lots of mods, your own kind of missions, everything you could do in Arma 2, and much more in this new game beside. One of our designers, the guy who led the Eagle Wing campaign in Arma 2, he added one of his own mods to this game to show exactly what we can do. If we want to blow up Seattle with a nuke, that's the kind of thing that's possible with our game. It's not part of our vanilla content. It certainly doesn't go along with the civil nature of what we're aiming for. But it shows that if you've got the skill, you can do whatever you want to our game. Well, I hope that was a useful introduction for you. You can check out more information on our website, takeonthegame.com. Our social channels are always updated on Twitter and Facebook. And our release is October this year.